Wow, that's such a great question. I do not have a crystal ball, and I have some thoughts. And recognizing I want to be careful about extrapolating from my personal reality. So after 26 years of putting on a tie and going to the office early and staying there almost all day, I no longer wish to do that. And so I'm still young, I'm active. People ask me why I retired from Goldman Sachs, and I'm like, isn't 26 years in one institution enough? There's got to be something else to do with one's life. And I am very clear that I'm not working in anyone's office. And I think everybody knows that about me, but I remind them up front, love to do things together. I'm on all kinds of boards advising all kinds of startups, all kinds of investing activities. And that's exciting for me, but I do it from my home in the mountains. And occasionally I'll venture out to meeting once we start traveling again, but I don't have any need to be in the office. I've watched banks, including Goldman Sachs, really struggle with this idea. And I have a theory that many managers really only know how to walk around the trading floor and see if their people are looking busy, hence the infamous culture of FaceTime. And I always saw that as a poor substitute for actual leadership. And I've seen many of my former colleagues really long for a return to the office because they really had no way to know what their people were up to unless they were wandering around and accosting individual people and having hallway conversations and making sure everybody looked busy. But to my mind, there are many, many better ways of doing that. And so in discussions with a variety of firms, I'm noticing a variety of new workplace policies emerge. So I know many illustrious private equity firms, some of them with tens of billions of AUM, saying, this pandemic taught us that our people are reliable and they get a lot of things done. And we have no plans to go back to an office ever. And they're in absolutely no hurry to do so. I know another private equity firm where in the space of 1 hour, I had two conversations with two partners. And one of them told me, well, this working from home thing is fine, but if we're actually going to buy a company, we have got to look the managers in the eyes and we've got to be physically present to do that. And I assumed that that was their policy. And I spoke to another partner immediately after that. And he said, oh yeah, of course my partner says that. I don't think that at all. I'm perfectly comfortable making decisions on Zoom, and I just spent $5 billion on the company yesterday without having met the managers in person. And ultimately, there's a competition for talent, and I think something that's going to be hard for the Wall Street firms to reckon with is the policies already announced by some of the tech firms. One of our principal competitors at Goldman for talent was Facebook and Google. And Facebook has said, you can work from home all the time. Not everybody. You have to be above a certain level in the pantheon at Facebook. But it's not a high level. But you can't be entry level. Entry level people need to get acculturated in the office. But once you reach a certain level of professional qualification, they don't care where you work. Though famously, they said they'll pay you less depending on where you live. Google just extended its work from home policy until September. And then they said, but when that policy is over, don't move too far away from the office because we're going to want you in the office 2 or 3 days a week. And the other 2 days, you can work from home. My point of this is that there's just going to be an entire spectrum of possibilities. And there will be some companies that just can't wait to go back to the old FaceTime culture ASAP. There will be other companies that never want to go back to that and will have regular get-togethers, maybe a monthly get-together, maybe weekly for some people, maybe quarterly for others. And there's going to be everything in between. And companies will compete for talent on that basis. And people will take their talent where they see the most opportunity, as they always have. So I think we will break out of the kind of scheme we got from the industrial revolution of an 8 to 5 or 8 to 8 or whatever the schedule is. We're going to break free of that as a uniform mold for all companies, and then there's going to be a whole host of different ways of working.